Hello, my name is Clay Hess. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Wyoming, and currently I'm in Utah working under fire with the Forest Service. I learned about firefighting when I went to college. Going into college, I didn't think I was going to finish, but I still pursued it. I learned about structure fire, wasn't too keen on it, but then I learned about wildland fire. I love the outdoors. I love that physical aspect of pushing yourself daily. So I got into that route. At the same time, when I was in college, I took a class that I wasn't expecting to take and I didn't need to take, but I still felt the desire to. And with that class, I learned about the water crisis through a book called Wine to Water. Doc Henley is from North Carolina, Boone, and he learned about the water crisis as a bartender, about 25, 26 years old, as I am now, and he used that as a way to talk about the water crisis, and he raised enough money to give to the Samaritan's Purse, and they told him to go to Darfur, Africa during the war in 2004 to do the water efforts himself for a whole year. With that, he started his own nonprofit, and that's how I heard about the water crisis. I was super lost at the time, like even being in classes, not even engaging, because I was thinking of being out across the world doing water. So it was always there for me. I dropped out. I started doing fire. Each winter I would donate some filters for family or a well. I always had that water pole. And after 3 seasons of fire, I decided that I wanted to use my time off to go and travel. So I signed up for the farthest way I could, and that was Nepal with Wine to Water. I spent 2 weeks digging 2 wells in a small village, giving 5 wells in 5 days to about 400 people. They were able to go and as families go into the well and get their daily resources that were clean, and then they could filter it into a Sawyer filter. Just the language barrier there, we couldn't speak, and there's a lot of times where I was working alone, and just that fire aspect of seeing what's going on, what's needed. I could see that, and I was able to pick up on that, where I could jump in and on any role, like in any assignment in the water world without speaking their language. And it was such a impactful thing because it was eye contact, and it was that close connection that you have with brotherhood, and I felt that with water. So when I went back home, I loved it and I wanted to do more, so I signed up for the Dominican Republic, building ceramic water filters. Needless to say, I love that again, and I went back into fire to make money for that, to keep doing my fire and to keep doing my water. My heart was in fire, my heart was in water. So mid-season, I'm back in Vernal, Utah on the Flaming Gorge module, and it's burning for about 2 weeks on forests, and the Dollar Ridge fire sparks up not too far from us. And after 2 weeks of it burning and we're on our own forest, it starts to rain and it starts to flood. So we go there to do flood efforts, and about 10 days into that, it starts picking up, starts getting hot again. So we're doing line construction, burning off roads, burning off a saddle, and we couldn't catch it. And on the 13th day of our 14-day assignment, I jump a fence to grab a work item. Had barbed wire on top, so I jumped and leaped on top of it and over. Doing that, I dislocated and broke my hip. I flew 3 hours later to Provo, got it relocated, and then surgery the following day. 7 screws in a plate, and I was told I wasn't able to walk for 12 weeks and be out of fire for 2-3 years. So I was pretty devastated, and water was right there right away, showing up in my mind and in my heart. So I jumped into that. I was able to walk in half the time that I could, and while doing that, that fire flooded again 2 weeks after I broke my hip, and then it burned continuously after that. So it was fire, water, I broke my hip, fire, water, fire. So with that, I go to Boone, North Carolina after a month. I'm on crutches, and I get to meet Doc. I get to meet the whole Wine to Water staff at their summit. I get inspiration to keep going. So I signed up for the Dominican Republic 4 months later, and then I went back to Nepal for 10 weeks, 6 months after surgery. And I can't tell you what water did for me, like to have that same passion, that same connection of helping someone. Even though I couldn't carry a pack, or I couldn't, you know, go to a hose lay, or I couldn't go do something to help someone's home, I was able to bring water to their home. So I found that as a huge outlet. I then I got a call last year. I came back to Vernal and I wasn't able to do fire, and I was pretty hurt by it. And my crew, you know, they went to the Alaska roll that happens every 4 or 5 years. And then they're just about to go to the Grand Canyon. I hear the Bahamas get hit by a hurricane. And I've been there a couple times for a few different mission things, doing an old AIDS camp, and also like some Bible schools, stuff like that. So I had a heart there, and I really had a pull, and I got a call when I was really dark and like lost again from Doc saying, I need your help from Wine to Water to do some water efforts in the Bahamas. So I jumped up on that opportunity, even with the feelings I was having with my hip and all of that. And I spent 2 weeks in the Bahamas giving out Sawyer filters. So when I flew out to the Bahamas, my first thing I saw was 4 forest fires on Freeport Island. And then I fly to Abaco. Randomly, I was supposed to meet Doc on Freeport, and I get to land on this island that's totally leveled, and I have hands, like I'm boots on the ground right away, seeing like the real idea of what happened. And this is only a month or two later, seeing completely homes leveled, families like dispersed, maybe just the dads are home working. And I go to Doc, and I'm driving with this guy that has shown me water, and I'm seeing fire burning next to me, forest fires, as we pull up to schools, we pull up to animal shelters to put these RO systems in, which is reverse osmosis, and that takes the salt water out. So with me putting those Sawyer filters out, people were not getting the right idea that salt water can't go in, so they needed to collect rainwater. So they weren't getting the right information, because either Doc or I or other people like Wine to Water wasn't there to educate them on that. So we would do the RO systems, and they would take out the salt water, and then I would also educate them on how to use the Sawyer filters correctly. Coming back from that trip, it was my first disaster relief trip, so it was totally different from Nepal or the DR. It was more on the fire lines of, you know, kind of figuring out what you have to do by yourself and getting the job done with what you have, making those contacts. And I loved it, and I enjoyed it. And with that, I got a connection from a lady that had a connection with fire. Her brother had passed away in 9/11 with New York, and she wanted to help out with Abaco to build the fire stations up. So that fire I saw that I was next to, there was only one truck on there. A lot of their trucks' engine pumps were fried, and they weren't able to run water and pump water. So they were using 5-gallon buckets, no boots, no gear. So her idea was to bring money, bring firefighters in to build the stations, build the program back up, teach them how to use the gear that we're giving them, and then they can go on and just keep being sustainable that way. Same way as water. That same salt water that flooded into the ocean, it flooded all onto the land, and it sucked out into the ground, going into their drinking water. So all their drinking water was salty, and it was also killing all the vegetation, causing a lot of more fires and more intense fire behavior. So I saw on that trip like the need of water and how much I could be successful in doing like the disaster relief with my fire background, even though I can't be in fire right now. And my heart pulls me into doing firefights water, but like to fire and water at the same time. Maybe one day we could be an organization that supports people in disasters or non-disasters that are just economy, they are not growing as well and they need water. I would like to go in there and bring water to them, natural disasters. And also we could go into natural disasters as going into a fire station, utilizing that fire station as fixing their trucks, using their trucks to portable water. If there's fires, we can train them on how to use their new equipment. If we're getting them that equipment, we can have funding, we can have money. So my whole idea of fire and water is just fire fights water, fire and water. They go hand in hand, and they both give you that drive and purpose. Like I've said, like this injury I had a second surgery in January with the cup being broken on the acetobulum. I ended up getting a labrum impingement, so I got that fixed, and then now I'm kind of dealing with that surgery on top of the other one, and I'm also starting to get a sports hernia. So with all of that, like, fire is out of reach for me for a few more years, definitely, and it could be for forever. That's something that's always on my mind. So water has always been that outlet for me, and I want to continue doing water. So I want to challenge firefighters. Like, this could be an organization to, like, talk about, you know, suicide rates, talk about PTSD, about injuries that you can't overcome, losing your purpose. Even on the off seasons, you can lose your purpose. So I want to start a fundraiser called Drop in the Bucket. Most of my life, it's been small drops here and there for water and fire, drops in the bucket, and it might not seem like much, but it's starting to become something. So I want to do Drop in the Bucket. I have stickers like this, Drop in the Bucket, and then I also have fire and water stickers. So the idea of this is kind of like a fill the boot. I know it might be hard for some departments to get the clearance to do that. So it could be on your own. It could be at a bar that you like. You could put up a bucket for a weekend. So my goal is to use this money, put these buckets up at grocery stores, bars, anywhere you want for the weekend of August the 8th. And I want that to just be 2 or 3 days of sharing the water crisis, sharing fire, sharing what we could do as a fire community to support people. COVID is a huge thing. Right now, I'm just finishing up 2 weeks of quarantine because of our fire crew. 3 of them tested positive after going to a fire with some guys in Salt Lake. So it's even affecting us here, but it's affecting people way more around the world that don't even have clean water to drink than to hygiene. So I just want to really express that Wine to Water is doing some amazing things out there with their hygiene program, and I want to use these funds to support 4 international offices: Tanzania, Nepal, the Dominican Republic, and Amazon. They're doing filters, and they're also doing hygiene lessons and making it known about the water crisis. So I just want to challenge everyone out there to hit me up on Instagram, Firefights Water, or my email, personal email. It's all lowercase, williamclay.hess, H-E-S-S, @gmail.com. Give me all your info, different fire info, different departments, different people. I want to get this known, and I want to get these buckets out here to you. So the idea of this is you guys tell me how many people you have. I'll get you guys some stickers for how many buckets you want. I'm only charging $5. So $5 for 3 stickers and the Drop in the Bucket sticker. I can throw in extras, and I will throw in extras. So $5, that would go into a link, and then all the fundings for this will go into water efforts for hygiene. So yeah, guys, keep the dream alive. Fire fights water.